Gil?
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Yeah, we're doing the intro.
All right, can you do it?
I
Do you have it?
Give me a second.
Should we just go to intro?
No, we'll wait a few seconds. I can get it.
1, 2.
Action. Tonight we have special guests. Game Cyberpunk 2077 ain't what it's cracked up to be, apparently. Big tech winner and losers of 2020. Pixar gets emotional. Buckle up.
Fire. That was dope, bro. You're going to do these from now on.
Really?
Yeah.
Battle to the death, fighting till I take my last breath. Till there's nothing left, till this flesh, till this past tense. Got him on the fence, henceforth disintext. I was lost, now a friend, now a force with the pen for the Lord.
Yo, what up, everybody? Welcome to Marrio Esco Live. I am your host, Marrio Esco. Alongside me on my right, your left, is my co-host, good friend, Gil Vargas. What's good?
What up?
On my left, we'll give a proper introduction in a little bit. First, we're going to run down these quick announcements and what up to our audience out there. Let me make sure everything's working right, man. I feel like a hot mess. But then again, when am I not a hot mess on this show? All right, there's the claps.
There's the claps.
There it is right there. Awesome.
There it is.
What up?
I love your own narration. Dude narrates himself. There are the claps.
What up to our listeners? GH3 Radio, 520 Radio, God's Music Radio, SCM Radio, Redeem Project Radio. What up, YouTube, Facebook, Twitch, Periscope, The Unashamed Network, Godify, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Podbean. What up?
Peter Piper Picked a Pepper podcast.
Check out D2LProductions.com.
It's funded by me. Terrible show.
Check out our merch, check out our music, join the email list, all that good stuff. Subscribe to our YouTube, hit that bell. Check out Me Live Picks on Spotify. Give us a call on our hotline, 774-243-0385. Put those handsets back up. 774-243-0385. Mom Dukes, if you want to leave me a message, can you please just call my cell, the regular one?
What?
Mom Dukes be calling me up, leaving me voicemails on that one.
Why you're on the she knows you're on the
yelling at me about chores I didn't do and stuff. Like, you forgot to...
Didn't take the trash out. Loser.
Recap. Last episode. Episode 128. Virtual Resignation. We had Domingo Guyton was with us. Brother. That was fire, man. Dope to have him on.
Super dope.
Shout out to Ming. Yeah, hold on. Let me hear you talking again, brother.
Shout out to Mingo.
There you are. Okay, cool.
Yeah,
We'll introduce you in a sec. Go. You got that intro on lineup, right?
I said I was doing the intro to the show.
Okay.
You never talked to me about that.
Domingo came through. It was super dope having him on. Very encouraging brother. An experienced creative who's been through trials and tribulations of a creative, independent, doing his thing. So it was dope hearing his maturity and where he's at as a creative in his walk right now. Highly recommend if you're a creative, independent, struggling, check out episode 128 with Domingo Guyton. Shout out to you, brother. We love you.
Shout out.
It was dope having you on. We talked about VR film being bringing classic music to a new generation.
Yeah.
We talked about the $15 billion for venues into the stimulus bill.
Excited.
Elon Musk getting turned down by Apple. He tried to sell Tesla to Apple. You heard about that, right?
Yeah.
It's crazy, man.
And we featured Domingo Guyton's WAP. Did you see that one? Okay, that clip is like, wait. He's
like, wait a minute.
I did see that. No. I did see it.
Trust me. We had the same reaction.
I saw it on his. I think I saw it on his page.
I had the same reaction when Mario was like, "Yo, did you see Domingo Guyton's WAP video?" I'm like, "What?"
Yeah. It's not what you think.
When you hear it. But when you first rip, though, you're like, what? Wait, that don't make no sense.
Say what?
That's like tuna fish and jelly. They don't go together.
And Weez the Satellite Kid, Just Chill, Fire Track, dope artist. Check that out. If you guys interested in any of that, check out episode 128. Ladies and gentlemen, today though, however, super excited about this special guest. Not new to the show.
So excited that he changed his whole entire way of talking.
However,
Here we are.
did I do that for real?
Yes, you did.
Did I really just do that?
Yeah, you got so excited you became like British.
However,
However, we have a plethora of a show today.
ladies and gentlemen, let me turn these up, man. Not new to the show. Dear close friend of mine. Worked on several projects behind the scenes together with film and whatnot. We're like family, dude, behind the scenes, man. When we get together, man, I miss the family.
We gotta pull up that photo one day of us on the set.
Me, you, and Manny.
We all look
were
like 15.
Super dope.
Hold on.
We were on the set with Dan Rosario.
That I haven't even.
We were on the
posted
set
yet.
with Dan Rosario, and it was me, you.
I think they were
and
all on the
Maniacs.
set with Dan Rosario.
Facts,
Yeah,
bro.
but together, that's rare. Me, you, Manny. Then, like, it was like the whole entire crew. It was like some apartment. He was filming like it was like his earlier.
It was
that my
films.
video?
Yes, it was. It was in one of the directors'
In Rhode
lots in Rhode Island.
Yep. That was the If I Could video shoot that we never released.
Yeah, man, I remember
Oh,
we
I
were
just
there.
love those. Don't you?
I know.
It
There's so
happens,
many.
man.
Yeah, so many in the pot.
Let me get these back. Hold on. Oh, my goodness, man. I didn't give me the. All right. Co-founder, owner of WeAreCritics.com, producer and host of new YouTube channel Klep CXFM. Our brother Klep is in the building, brother. It's an honor.
Thank
You're
you.
not new to you're not a stranger to the show, brother. You family. We're excited to have you on,
I'm
dude.
excited to be here, man.
Yeah, super dope, man.
I watch you guys and I'm like, I got to be there all the time. It's such a well-oiled machine. I
I
love it.
appreciate
Yo,
it.
that's
man.
we hear that a lot, and I'm
Yeah.
like sitting here thinking like, where's the
second time I've heard
oil
that.
coming from? Like,
And where's the machine taking us?
keeping this thing afloat? Like, what's good?
Perception.
Perception, man. Yo, praise God.
Perception
No,
is
praise
everything.
God, dude. That's encouraging. Like, I'm live on the show, like, just encouraged by that. That's super dope.
Dope.
And likewise, man, like we see.
I'm always encouraged when somebody says, "You know how to fake really well."
Yeah, man. Yo, you guys, your perception is on point. You guys,
You have top quality
you
fakeness.
guys, yo, I fake myself out. I listen back and I'm jealous. I'm like, yo, how come I can't live with that?
He's like, I want to sign up for this podcast.
Man, that guy got it. I'm like, wait, no, I'm at work. Like, anyway, yeah, man, no, man, and likewise too, man. I'm inspired by everything that you got going on, bro. I remember, bringing it back, for the new guests and the new, the new people that are out there rocking with us. I remember a time where I was inspired by you before you even knew I knew who you were.
Wow.
And I remember my cuz, shout out to my cuz, Kev. I love you, cuz. My cuz was one of the dudes that were like super into Source magazine and always up to date with all the drama and hip hop and who did what and who produced what. And he was, I'm not gonna front like I was the kid. He was the kid that was like reading like the producer, the credit list and do it.
That's crazy.
He's the one who
That's
put me
nuts.
on, and he used to film. Because he was into breaking too. This is where like hip hop was like, the BET, MTV, like they were playing hip hop only at overnight, like midnight or whatever.
Yep.
Like it was like
Dre.
super underground where hip hop was first like bubbling and break dancing was really hot. You had Crazy Legs and you had all these cats. This is
Yep.
around the time where all of us who were hip hop heads wanted to
Rocksteady.
be in swishy pants. We
Oh,
all,
yeah. Oh, yeah, yeah.
Come on, we all,
Fat laces.
yeah, man.
With
We
fat
all,
laces.
we were all doing that stuff. Like, where's the cardboard box? Everybody, that's what it meant to be from the city.
Yep.
Like, you were like, okay, either you rap, you spin on cardboard, or or you in a gang. Like, it's like, which one of these are you if you were into hip hop? But that's
My mom used to say, y'all were like possessed by demons. Yeah, esa bossy, demonio, look at him
and now
shaking on the ground. That's only the demons do that.
and then you go to her church and see the same thing. And you're like,
Exactly. That's what I'm saying. It was easily
You're like, hold on a second.
recognizable.
It
It was
the same
easily
thing.
recognizable.
It's the
So,
same thing
I know that move. That's demonic.
We call that the serpent.
We call it the serpent 7-Eleven.
No, we call it the wind of the spirit. That's a windmill.
The wind.
That's a windmill. I'll give you that. Remember little Ant?
Oh yeah,
Anthony,
yeah.
when he used to do those pennies in those windmills.
Oh.
This dude will be doing some stuff like breakdance moves that you were like, what is that? Like you don't even know what. Like this dude's just all you see is legs just spinning.
Yeah.
Anyway, so in that time, my cuz was actually filming on local TV. They had like a hip hop night in the club, and he was filming a breakdance battle between two well-known rivals in our city. It was
Top Rock.
Top Rock against Steady Chaos Crew. And it was like a big deal. Crazy event, huge deal, because not only were these guys rival breakdancers against their teams, they were also like, from the street. Like they actually had beef, like real beef with each other. Mm-hmm. So my cousin taped this whole event. Times. And at the end
when they used to dance the battle, like not the game.
Oh no, don't get it twisted. There were fights after too.
or during.
Twisted, man.
Oh, I thought the blows landed by the dances.
Oh no, it was like, oh, you beat me there? All right, then you know what I'm saying.
I'm gonna beat you outside then.
Sort of like. But anyway, so we were watching. He filmed that, and right after that, they had a rap battle.
Oh man, you bringing it there?
And one of the rappers that went up there that night, that you won that night, right? You won that night. Yeah. One of the rappers that went up was Klep. And Klep, this is me. Like before I'm rapping, I'm breakdancing. I'm not even like into writing bars or nothing. I'm breakdancing. I see Klep get up there, and I'm like, I don't know who he is. I'm just like, yo, he's killing it. Oh shoot, like, oh man.
He brought it there, bro. Wow. I didn't know where this story was going until he said the
do you remember that night?
Of course I remember. That was
Do you like right now? Like you could bring yourself into that night.
I'm going through my phone because I know I have pictures of that.
Oh, get out of here!
Yeah, of that night. Yeah.
Oh, that's fine.
What?
Yeah, I had a couple of pictures that I found. Like they're in my phone somewhere.
Oh man, I hope you have a picture of the crowd.
I'll go through
because you might see Marrio Esco.
No, it's of the stage because that was Esco. So when Top Rock and Steady Chaos had their battle, it was my group 180 against Fossil, and I was battling Ensabanoa, Jason. Everybody knows him. His name was Jason. Perez, I think it was Jason Perez, but yeah, me and him had a battle, so it was like a big deal. Like anybody was out that night. It was packed. Right?
Now was it just going bar to bar, or y'all were coming at each other?
It was scheduled to be 3 rounds, one verse. You know what I mean?
But coming at each other.
Yeah, going at. It was on purpose because there was like a misunderstanding of a verse that I had put on a mixtape. And there was already like animosity between them, and they were a lot older than us. We were like 17, 18 at the time. These guys were like well in their 20s. They just had I don't know, it was a misunderstanding. He comes to my job and he's like, me and you battle such and such date. I think it was like October.
Serious.
It was like, yo, it was like legit. Like this was like
it was like what? Some Eminem stuff.
He showed up at my job and was like, yo, battle.
It's on.
I was like, all right.
You have an entourage and they're like,
nah, he came by himself. He came by himself.
This ain't cool girls.
Everybody just went to the side.
It wasn't like show enough.
He's like, yo, sucker, we gonna battle.
Show enough.
It was talking about the Last Dragon. It wasn't like, he didn't come in with like a goons or anything. He just came in. It was just like, yeah.
I had to ask because in my head,
I wish I could remember the actual date. I think it was like October 28th or something.
Bro,
like
you could remember that.
I think so. I think it was like 28th. 28th sticks in my head. I think it was like October 28th at the Space.
Yes, the Space.
Which was before with the Boiler Room. Before the Boiler Room, it was.
Oh my
it was
goodness,
called the Space.
Dude, yeah.
And it was packed.
It was packed, dude.
Like
I think there was a fight that night.
There was a fight afterwards.
Something broke out.
And I don't know who it was between, but whatever, it wasn't me. So
sore losers.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what the beef was, but
breaking.
Yeah,
that
was
a
wild night, man.
It was Klep who did it. He was just
that was a wild night. It was
just
fun,
one and walked away like what?
Yo, I promise you, I haven't been that passionate about rap like that night. Like
that's crazy to me, bro.
Like,
but what's wild about that night too? And then we'll get over that night. But you came off legit from the top of the head. Like that dude had his bars. You could tell, like he had his bars ready to go.
Yeah.
He was firing off his bars that he already probably used at like three other battles. But when you came in, it was like you could tell this dude was talking about the crowd. He was pointing out people in the crowd saying crazy stuff. He was pointing out his Puerto Rican band. He had like a Puerto Rican headband.
Yeah, he brought the flag.
Was like, so you could tell that you were off the top. And right from there, I was like, oh, Klep got this. Klep Klep got this, man. You can tell he's freestyle.
I wasn't like completely off the top. It's just my style back then was, even on a regular 16-bar verse that I was rapping, it was always battle. Battle. Like
you were a battle rapper,
I didn't write verses to talk about.
I
didn't write verses to talk about the day, the sun. If I wrote a verse, it was as though I was attacking someone. So any verse I pulled out of my pocket would have sounded like it was about him. Like literally. And a lot of people used to underestimate me and think that I wasn't like lyricist in that sense.
Yeah.
So a lot of people, like, I did write, I think for that battle I wrote one specific verse about him. The other ones were just out the pocket.
Yeah.
Just to show him that I wasn't
you could
just a pushover. Like,
right.
And I think it was the second verse that I spit that was directly at him.
Yeah.
The first one I just threw out there just to show I can rhyme.
Yep.
Then I was about him.
And then you did your thing.
The third verse, I didn't even, I just knew after the
I would
verse.
never dare, bro. I would never dare to just off the top, man. Yeah. I remember one time I was out in Boston and like this was like my time to showcase my stuff. And the interview, we did an interview before we performed. I nailed the interview. I was like, yo, I like was talking about kids and stuff. Like it's about inspiring the kids, you know, it's about, they were like, wow, like it was really dope. Then I go into the verse and I forgot the whole first, the first verse. I just completely dropped the ball. They're calling in like, get this trash off the. I'm like,
oh man,
like,
wow.
I was like, sorry, Jimmy Kane. No.
Oh man,
I was like, that was straight up days, man. I was like, dang.
But I think
you banked on the wrong
that
one.
Era though, that was like that was the thing in that era though. A lot of rappers that I knew were all battle rappers. We grew up on Redman, Hit Squad, Keith Murray.
Facts.
Like, that was the way that people rapped. It was either them or Wu-Tang. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but you know what? You stood apart not only with your lyrics and like with your talent, you know, but you also had a whole crew that you were running.
Yeah, and we all had the similar style.
And you were like leader, like the dude that naturally had the ability to unify the people and get them together. You always had that in you, bro.
I mean, I never.
Whenever I think of Klep, I'm like, that's 180. That's like, I think of Klep, I'm like, that's Critix. That's like, it's some kind of crew or clique that you inspired to come together and like lead. Take charge.
I think like I see the potential in a lot of people, and I think that we all equally bring something to the table. I'm just naturally you're
playing your part.
Yeah,
you know your part very well.
I feel like
Do you consider yourself like when you think of what you do and how you unify and do all that? Do you consider in your head like a leadership? Do you think responsibility? This is kind of falls on me. What am I doing?
A lot of times, yeah, a lot of times. But
naturally, or like, are you aware of it, or is it just like the emotion of feeling that responsibility that drives you?
I'm very aware of it because I feel like every team needs guidance or like a foundation, and someone has to step in certain areas. And it's like others are supposed to go in a different direction, but I always felt like I need to play a pivotal role in navigating and getting through the weeds and making sure certain things happen. It's always been like that. Like I just always felt like that, like concepts and logos and marketing and brand and things like that. Like I always have to have my hands on both wheels,
right?
Because it's just something that I've just always been used to doing. You know what I mean? But I never looked at myself as like, oh yeah, I'm the leader or nothing like that. But like, yeah, I feel like a concept guy. I'm a creator by nature, so concept is like my responsibility. Like, I stand by the brand. I wear the brand. Like right now, I wear the X. Like it's. Wherever you see me, you're gonna see what we've done. You know what I mean?
And you know what? And also, like, I see the people around you that also like staying with you and what you're doing, and I could tell like just their natural response to you doing what you naturally do. It's like it's not a forced thing. It's not like I'm gonna walk around with this thing on my like you even give people opportunities, like and we'll talk about that in a little bit of a little bit of the Comic-Con and the stuff you do and the stuff you're involved with now. But watching that experience, being behind the scenes and helping with the videography and stuff like that, I saw even then, in that moment, a whole different scene, nothing to do with rapping, singing or anything, but here's Klep again. Like everyone's going to Klep. Where do I go? Like, where's this? Where are we going here? Where are we going? And you're open with all right, yo, can you go up there? Can you like, you're not like, yo, Marrio, you go up this way. You're not like barking orders. You're just like, yo, can you cover up here? Can you cover? And you just have this way of just like funneling the energy as it comes your way. Everyone knows there's the point guy, go there, and then you're directed from there where you need to go. Like you just naturally got it, man. So
I thank you. Thank you.
Shout out to your leadership.
Anyone
skills,
looking for a point man?
Anybody
looking for a point man? I have
out
a reference.
I make a great CEO.
Yeah.
I mean, it just comes with experience, man. Like my team, a lot of guys, they come from a different background, you know what I mean? And people like you and I, like we've been in the show business game, we've been in the event planning game, and things like that. So it's just experience that I've learned and been able to be comfortable in for a very long time. So it's like when you're in that mode, it's like showtime, and you don't overthink it. And plus I know people. Like I've been managers. I've been a manager in regular day jobs, and just knowing how to deal with people is important in this industry. And so I'll never be the guy to be barking orders or acting like I'm too good to work with people. Like I think everyone brings something to the table. And there's people out there that know way more than I do. You know what I mean? And I would much rather have those people play point at what they do. I just step back and let them do their thing. Because at the end of the day, I'll probably mess it up. You know what I mean? Like, so, yeah, I feel like I've always been good at, I could have been a RZA. I could have put together
a crew, like
the ultimate, you know what I mean? Like, I always felt like I knew I could grab a little bit over here, grab something over here, grab something over here, and put together something beautiful, you know what I mean? So that's.
Do you ever resign from like the role of leadership from, like, let's say like 180? Like this is 180 forever, or did you say, yeah, I'm out of here? And how did you part when you were like, yo, I'm done with this chapter? Or is it just like,
I think it just kind of it never died off. It just kind of just take different forms, you know what I mean? Because I feel like even all those guys, like, you know, B-Dot, and, you know, I just feel like we all are a piece of 180. So depending on where it goes and whatever that person does with it, it's still there. It's just that their version of it. Like, I'm never 180 by myself. You know what I mean? Like, I could never claim that. I could never be like, yeah, I'm 180. That's just foolish.
What I want to know is something that, because 180 was a huge part of you. And a huge part of even our history and how I've known you for all these years. And now going from that and hearing conversations, you say I've embraced my inner geek and I put it on fully. I got the cowl. I got the club ring. You know what I'm saying? I've subscribed to it, and I'm this is me. So that I want to know, how did it become from microphone to
the
cape?
Transition? Where did the transition happen?
Like where was the, like, you know what, I'm done with this microphone thing. I'm gonna start reading comic books, and that's gonna be my life.
Nah, I mean, it's always been in me. Like, even as a kid, like, it was just something that you just don't realize is even a thing until you're like old enough to understand it. Like, the word fandom I've never heard until I was in my 30s. Like, I didn't know what a Comic-Con was.
Super fan, like all them
you know
terms.
I didn't know. Like, I just knew growing up, you know, loving movies and cartoons and cereal and toys, and who would have thought 25, 30 years later would be looked at as like a cool thing. You know what I mean? Like, it's cool. It's cool to not grow up. You know what I mean?
Facts,
to kind of stay in that childlike mind responsibly, of course, not you know, acting like a dimwit, but like, you know what I mean? It's just cool.
Not immature.
Just it's cool to just kind of.
But we're not talking about LARPers.
Listen, I got a new respect for them.
Wait a minute. Oh no!
I used to think.
Klep is a LARPer.
No, I'm not a LARPer.
Oh, okay. I was gonna say, like, yo, you really switched up.
I actually met one.
Battling thugs to
yes.
LARPing.
So when I had
when
I had a day job, when I was working with Samsung, my job would be to visit different you know, store locations.
I have to hear the story.
And you'd be surprised, there's a lot of geeks that work in the cell phone industry. So,
oh man, you don't have to say, I should agree. It's tech.
There was one of the employees that actually lived that life. Like, had a Facebook page.
Larp Life.
Like,
Larp Life.
Had a Facebook page for her kingdom. And all the people that, like, it's a real thing, bro. Like,
I know it's a real thing.
It's a real
Trust
thing.
People. I've seen enough documentaries because I had to look it up. When somebody told me, I'm like,
married.
lying to
anyone
me.
that doesn't know, LARPing is live action role playing.
Yeah, we have to say it.
Live action.
It's
my business. It's my business to know what this is.
He said, excuse me. Anyway.
Wait, we have. He's like, I'm not a LARPer, but we must know that
we have
LARPing
to know.
is actually live action.
Look,
listen, they used to laugh at Comic-Cons, man, and they
trust me.
They make millions of dollars in a weekend. Trust me.
No,
4 days.
Because you got literally 1,500 of them paying a fee to be a part of this mystical world.
I heard
hit
people
you with a
married in there
styrofoam
too,
stick
like,
and go, you're supposed to fall on the ground.
LARPers. Like LARPers have like.
I mean, I don't listen. I've never been to one of them. I don't know. I just listen.
I'm not gonna lie. I would
go. Movie.
I would go to one.
There's a movie.
Oh yeah, there is a movie.
Role play. Role models.
Okay.
Yes,
with
that's what I'm saying.
Yeah, with Paul Rudd and McLovin.
That's what made me look into it.
Really?
Like,
because I'm like, there's no way this world exists.
Yeah.
Because that's why I heard the term LARPing.
Dude,
he said it in the show. He was like,
LARPing.
then went to the event, and I'm like, this is not true. This is Hollywood magic.
Yeah.
No, this is real.
And I looked it up, and long and behold, they're actual guilds.
They
have a guild.
Be sewing their own clothes.
Oh, dude.
Yo,
good quality.
Like a straight movie.
Good quality.
Good quality though.
Yo, it's a movie with no budget.
They're not going to Halloween Outlet or Spirit. They're like really putting it together.
Yeah.
But that's the same thing with cosplay. Like right now, like cosplay is like huge. Like you go to Comic-Cons and people are spending thousands of dollars to make the right costume. Like
that's true.
To just kind of just
thousands of dollars.
Like,
I can't even imagine. Like, yo, how much money you got invested in that Iron Man suit? Man, I got like $15K.
Like, look at
for
like
what?
What's the difference between cosplay at a Comic-Con and going to Disney World to look at people dressed up as cartoon characters?
Hold up. Can I ask a question?
The difference is that it's people who are getting paid to do it, and the other dudes are investing $15,000 to do it for no reason.
Let me tell you this.
Difference.
No, never.
Okay,
Never.
all right.
I've never even done cosplay.
You got to live stream your first LARPing.
It's never going to happen.
Dude, if you film that would be like, yo, my first LARPing.
LARPing. That would be so fire.
These cosplayers
please play it like
fandom. They have fans.
No, it's true.
They get paid to come out. They get paid to sit at the table and sign autographs.
Really?
Yeah.
Wait, costume makers?
Yes, man. This is legit.
This is for real.
I'm in the wrong business.
Legit,
bro.
Man.
No, he's right. He is right.
They get paid to dress up.
Listen.
Yeah.
It's just like
and walk around.
Hold up. Look at it like this. You could go to a legit convention and pay for someone you want to take a picture with, or you can walk through Times Square and get chased for a tip.
Yep. Can I take a picture? Can I take a picture?
But at least at the Comic-Con is way crazier quality.
Can I ask a serious question?
They even have costume contests. They win things.
Yeah.
How about this? Last year's New York Comic-Con, and I didn't even know this was going on, and I was there as press. Disney filmed a documentary on cosplayers, and it's on Disney Plus. If you go on Disney Plus,
now those people
it's called Marvel 616. 616, sorry. Marvel 616, and one of the episodes is based on New York Comic-Con cosplayers.
That's crazy.
A whole episode. Like, it's a thing. Like, it's a culture, man. It's a lifestyle. A lot of people take it very seriously. Like, they spend a lot of money.
And I bet you if Gil had some time to like really get into it, he would be going over the top.
Would
get his Frozone costume.
He'll be actually taking like kung fu classes. He'll be like,
I'll probably pick
he'll be like Iron Fist.
Yo, for real. He'll try to actually make it come to life.
I mean, to each his own. Like, I'm not into it. I haven't worn a costume since I was like Halloween, and I was like 11, 12. That was the last time I wore a costume. I don't do it.
Can I ask you a serious question though about LARPing? Bringing it back.
This guy's obsessed.
No, I have one question.
What up?
Do they have different themes like future LARPing?
I have no idea. You should
do.
make one. They do?
Yeah.
Do they?
They have them for all.
So they have people like laser guns and
so you got like medieval times. They got
I've seen
like
the
future.
times
they have what's the word?
They have
steampunk.
Themes.
They got steampunk.
Wow.
They got
I didn't know that.
Dude, I'm telling you.
So it's like genres.
I agree with you because when I looked into it, I was like,
oh,
what?
This gets complicated.
Yo, this whole like if you do the medieval, you could choose to be a wizard,
different powers.
You could be a knight. You could be like, yo, it's crazy. All the types of stuff you could do.
He was looking for one to sign up to.
There's gestures.
I think
he knows way too much.
Yeah,
you know way too much.
I had to know. When I saw the movie and I saw how elaborate it was, I'm like, there's no way people actually do this.
How much time did you put into
your research?
This is a long time ago. This is like when that movie came out.
How many applications did you fill out?
It was about like at least 3 days of research. I know you. I know you. You knew what.
I'm not gonna lie. If there was one around here, I would check it out because that's gonna be the most funniest thing I've ever seen.
Do you feel like paintballing is LARPing?
No.
No.
Because you get
you're not
hit,
acting.
bro.
You're
that
like-
hurts.
Well, you're acting like no, like
No, you
We're a
literally
team.
diving on the ground so you don't get hit by
I'm just
a
saying,
flying.
like, could a LARPer use paintballing as a way to like justify? Well, it's
No,
like paintballing. You know, you think you're shooting.
First of
somebody.
all, paintballing is a sport now.
You're not really a soldier out there fighting.
Like they got
You're
teams that have
pretending.
competitions and stuff like that, like real legit stuff. But he's right; they get paid. Like if you're the one that puts on this event, and you have all these people coming in, I'm like, I am, and they even come with the language. I am hereth for the larping. I am Desmond.
You can't speak.
They come
regular,
with all of that.
You can't
bro.
speak modern English. It's
I
like-
tried, but that was my failed attempt. I could do Spanish.
hi, I'm here for
really
the
well.
LARPing.
They should have a
Pardon
Latino
me.
one. Imagine if they had a Latino one and everybody
What's
lives
that? Like
in
Aztec
a-
warriors?
in-
Like what?
everybody lives in like
What are we doing?
what?
What do we do? Like Aztec warriors? Like
No, I'm talking about like
Hispanic?
the straight like hood. You know what I'm saying? Like, mira, you got some rice?
hood LARP?
No.
bro, no.
I'm trying to make a arroz con gandules.
Now you get silly with it, man.
I'm saying if they had LARPing for all types of
Klep,
cultures.
let's go to something. Klep. So
What's
you
up?
went from rapping. It was a good question, Gil. Let's go back to that.
Okay.
You went from rapping
Yeah.
to LARPing. So how was
Man, listen.
No,
Let's talk
to
about
the
that.
to the comic world, to the comics. So how was that transition for you? Was that like a black and white transition, or was it? How did you fall into like?
Like I've said, like I've always been a kid at heart. Like I've always loved cartoons, movies, television, TV shows. My dad raised me that way. I tell everyone the TV raised me. Like my parents were always there. They've been together. They were together.
Were you
the
a
whole-
Goonies kid?
Of course.
Were you a Johnny Five kid?
Who? Oh, John. Yeah, you mean Short Circuit?
Yeah.
yeah.
Are you
of course.
were you a Willows kid?
Willow was a little weird. I never liked medieval.
I'm waiting
stuff.
for Mario to be like,
So
are we best friends
I
now?
never liked medieval stuff. I wasn't into
No,
Willow.
the Russian.
I wasn't into Princess Bride. I wasn't into Lord of the Rings. I never
Okay, so
really.
not
I
that kind of
never.
stuff, okay.
No, like I knew what
Star
it
Wars.
was.
Name your favorite dinosaur.
yes. But I'll be real. I grew up in the Star Wars world.
Yeah.
But I didn't actually sit down and watch them all till like '99.
Okay,
But
so
I knew what it was. There was sheets. There was cereal. There was cartoon. You couldn't avoid it. Like,
Right,
It
you
was
knew,
Like,
yeah.
It was everywhere. Like everyone knew Luke Skywalker. Everyone knew Darth Vader.
Facts. Yeah.
That was good marketing on their.
Oh yeah, they made sure every culture,
Yeah.
everybody across
you
the
knew
board
what
is
it
going to
was.
be aware.
It's like
Yeah.
Disney World. You may have never been there, but you know what's there.
What did they do right with their? Was it really just a remarkable production at their time, ahead of their time, or was it more the story?
What,
like,
Star
what do you
Wars?
think? Yeah, like, what do you think?
I mean, it wasn't the first of its kind. Like, I mean, it was 2001: Space Odyssey, but for the most part, Star Wars was different. I mean,
the storyline.
not just the story, but like the special effects. Like,
Yeah,
they came
special
out, like,
effects
that
were
was ahead
impressive.
of its
70s
time, dude.
The
something.
special effects and the things that they did in
That
the
was
movie,
super creative.
Now that was
man.
just first of its kind
Yeah.
because they didn't have the scale of modeling
the way they do
Yeah.
that.
in any other movie.
And there's a great.
This was the largest scale of models that they've ever created.
There's a
which is
great
like-
documentary on that film as well, where you see that they were making the toys and the movie at the same exact
Yep.
time, and the movie was so secretive that George Lucas would have the toy makers come on set and make models of show them models of the things they were using.
Oh, wow.
So this was like a simultaneous release. It
Yeah.
was so weird how things got made back then. Like it's like, how do you make toys off of a movie that's never dropped? They did the same thing with the Ninja Turtles.
So they
They
were
had the
making,
toys on
they
the
were
shelf
creating
before it actually came out.
That's genius, bro.
That's genius.
That's
Like,
super genius.
Because think about it.
Actually,
you're creating fans before they even know that they're fans.
well, you're using the story. Isn't that what music is nowadays? Like, you use
Yeah.
this to introduce the product.
yeah.
Yeah.
But
People buy into the story that
Yeah.
now they're like, yo, I gotta have
But that's
that.
actually
think they would
how
ever
they did
do
it in
that
the
now.
beginning.
Napkin?
Like
Hello?
even before, like
Mike,
you
dripping over here.
guys see the documentary on the toys that made us.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. That's
Yeah,
that's
they
on
were
there.
actually making the stories and selling the story
Yeah.
with already the plan of the toy.
That's the documentary I was talking about. Yeah, the toys I made. They made a ton of those.
That
Yeah.
marketing strategy is insane.
Yeah, I mean, but they'll never do it now. Like, studios are too afraid of losing money. They're not gonna like waste that kind of. And plus, are toys even selling? You guys buying toys for your kids?
No, because all kids want is iPhones and iPads,
PS5s
and PS5s. It's like, what toy are they getting? Unless they're
You
like,
gotta- so it's
unless they're like really, really young. Because I'm gonna tell you right now, my daughter goes crazy for Ryan's little toys. Them things are the cheapest looking toys I've ever seen in my life.
Well, then again,
but my daughter's like,
is that the YouTube
all
kid?
about it. Yeah.
Ryan's toy review.
Ryan's toy review. He got his own toys.
Yeah.
Man, the legs
Now
don't even do nothing. The arms barely move.
Yeah,
it's just shiny and colorful.
It's just the familiarity of who that character
That's
is.
all this good marketing, man. Listen,
great marketing.
We should
do like, vegetable can openings. I don't know, get a sponsor. We're just gonna sit here and open cans of vegetables and try them out.
and there's probably a market for it. Like
probably is.
I heard there's a podcaster who's like making over 6 figures independent on his own, and his podcast is literally about
horse carriages.
Yeah, what? That's his whole podcast, and he's making 6 figures. He does his own like custom made horse carriage like things.
That many people who even know
facts.
That's what it makes you think. There's a whole entire culture for horse carriages. Like
he was fortunate enough that one, he found a niche, that wasn't really being talked about.
Yeah. Right.
And he tapped into a market that was looking for it.
Right. Yeah.
So there was people who were like, man, where do I get a horse carriage? Apparently, a lot of them.
Wow.
And he happened to be the only one talking about horse carriages. So naturally, show became a huge success. So for everybody out there, if you have an idea, your idea may be 6 figures worth.
Shout out to him, man.
Could be. Now, I'm sure he was thinking in his little room, like, I'm going to do horse carriages. 6 figures later.
Yo, and then telling people about it. Like, where do you make all this money from?
I talk about horse carriages.
My half-an-hour podcast a week. Like, all I do is talk about horse carriages. Yeah.
Like, how many different conversations can you have about horse carriages?
Facts. Well, and you know what, though? Like,
apparently a lot.
Yeah. But you know what, though? It's not a dude who's going out of his way to fit a niche that's not being tapped into.
No, that's what I'm saying. It wasn't like he was like, I am going to do this and it's going to take off.
But I'm saying, like,
he just was like, I want to talk about it.
Some people have the motive to just succeed. And I think that those are the ones that kind of take up space. They take up space, man. And it's like, this is where you get, I don't want to say fake news, but this is where you get, like, people have different intentions than actually reporting real news to you. You know what I mean? Like some of these people. Yeah. And it's the same thing with any type of genre in the creative space. Mm-hmm. You're going to have people that want to sell food because they want to share their mother's or great-great-great-grandmother's recipe with the world. Yep. And then you're going to have people that just want the business because they just want the dollar.
Facts.
I think honestly, a big reason why that has shifted too is because we live in the now age where everything needs to be fast. So because they're trying to produce it as quick or quicker than the next guy, the quality is no longer there. Like you're not really thinking about quality anymore. It's just go. So the journalists, they're not doing the proper research. They're not looking for leads. They're not really checking out
like
if
doing the groundwork.
No, they're just like, there's an email out there talking about there's an oil leak in gas. Put it out.
Yeah.
And then it finds out that no, it wasn't an oil leak. Actually, it was just a gas leak, and it was quickly detected and reserved. Now you look like fake news, or you look like you didn't do your research, but it's because you didn't wait.
I can relate to that with critics and stuff like that. That's why
you got to do your proper research.
I don't know. We don't normally post everything,
but you want to be ahead of the curve.
Not all the time.
Okay,
because a lot of times it's just pure rumor or speculation or clickbait.
Do you have sources that you run by first before you post anything?
The horse's mouth.
Oh, wow.
For like example, if there's like 1 billion stories out there right now about Spider-Man 3. Mm-hmm. Everyone's literally talking about the same thing,
right?
But Marvel and Sony have yet to come out and say
anything.
This is what's happening,
right? So it's just speculation.
It's
right
speculation, and I mean it's good for clicks. You're gonna get people to click on your news and go in and see things, but I'd rather wait for the big fish. You know what I mean? Like when it's time to really talk about it, they'll tell us and we'll be able to talk about it. Like I don't believe in jumping on everything. Some things are worth, if it's not the same story over and over and over and over, then it's like, okay, cool, that's in the air. Let's put it out. But I'm not gonna follow suit and post the same 1,000 things that every major outlet that would drown me anyways is talking about because sometimes it's just not worth.
Is it just one of you that excuse me, is it one of you that manages social media, or is it
I usually do social media, and some of the other guys, they do Facebook. I do the website with me and my guy Dion. We do the website together. So it's a little bit of everyone sharing.
So everybody across the board is kind of like on the same page with how you're gonna engage on social media and do your stuff.
Yeah.
Dope. Not a lot of people. I know you know what I'm talking about. Certain people maybe want to be in it for different reasons. And you're like,
that is true.
Yeah.
And that's true.
But there's times where some person is like carrying the slack more than others. Like when I was out of commission for a while, the boys stepped up. They stepped up. I'm not gonna lie. They handled it. So. It was cool,
bro. So what happened? What got you out of commission?
So for those who don't know, like I was intubated for almost 30 days with COVID.
That's crazy.
It was like 3.5 weeks.
Wow.
Yeah, 3.5.
And this is right around the time where it was like just starting to come out, like the information about the COVID, right?
Yeah. So this was the end of March. Going into April, end of March, I was getting the symptoms. Caught it from a guy at work. Went away.
At that time, it was like zombie. Like, oh, you got the, really.
Because at that point, people were just like dropping. Like it wasn't even a question. It was like you get it, you're done.
Yeah.
So I ended up getting it. I was out of work for about a week until I started not being able to breathe, and then immediately I just went to the hospital and. They kept me and they tried to put me on oxygen, and that didn't work out. And they were like, "Hey, we probably."
So hold up. Before you even went, so let me. So you went to the hospital. You got sick. Mm-hmm. You went to the hospital, get checked.
Well, I went because I couldn't breathe, and I was like, "Something."
So you knew. So you knew it around the time you were like,
I went immediately. Like
I got this.
Well, I knew I had COVID because I got tested after I caught it at work and got symptoms.
Okay.
And they were like, "Well, stay out for 2 weeks."
And then okay,
they progressed. The body aches, the sweating, bro.
And now you're like, "Oh shoot, this is getting real."
It was so brutal. Like I'm not even gonna lie, I never felt nothing like that in my life.
Shoot.
So the cold sweats, breaking the fever every day, then would come back in the middle of the night. Body aches feel like I was getting pounded on with sticks.
Oh man,
you know what I mean, like it's on another level. And then when I started doing the breathing issue, I went to the hospital. They put me on oxygen. My level just wouldn't go up, and they were like, "We might have to intubate you." And I was like, I didn't even know what he was talking about. I was just like, "All right, whatever we got to do."
Oh, so at this time you didn't even know.
Yeah. So, and the funny thing is, bro, like. They're slick with it because all I remember is the conversation.
Yeah,
about having to probably be intubated. And I was like, well, if anything, I want to go to. They were gonna have to send me somewhere, and I was like, well, I want to go to UMass because it was closer to home and whatever like that. And that's all I remember. That's literally all I remember.
What?
Next thing I know, I'm waking up.
What,
dude? Yo, whatever they gave me was so strong that I lost 3 days.
Oh, wow, dude.
3 days. I was having conversations with people, didn't remember any of them.
But
I
goodness.
had the text threads, and I was like, I don't remember
any of
these conversations at all. Like, it was that.
He was on autopilot.
Bro. And I was telling you, like,
that's a natural born leader. This dude
was taking emails, answering phone calls.
He landed again.
Nurse is walking in, like, "Sir, you're in a coma." No, I gotta take this call real quick.
He woke up in front of with a podcast. He's like, "How do I got a podcast?"
I ain't gonna lie though. Like,
He's receiving an Academy Award.
I was telling Gil, when I was, in that state, a lot has changed. Like. Since then, like, I mean, you asked me about, how did I transition and get into this thing? I'll wrap that up real quick and then we'll get back into this.
Yeah.
It's just something that's always been in me. Growing up, it was really something that, I learned from my dad. My dad passed away in 2010. I think maybe then was like around the time a lot of things just kind of changed with me, like the direction of things that I wanted to do.
Reprioritize.
Yeah, it wasn't that like I always have love for music because I still do music with Kristen Lucas and Goldilocks and things like that. Right. And
you're still involved with it.
Yeah, but like as far as being a front man on stage and being an artist, that the game has changed so much that it doesn't even like remotely interest me. Like if someone came to me and was like, "Hey, like you want to drop an album?" I'd be like, "Why?" Like why? Like you don't even get paid the same. It's not the same feeling. Like people aren't lining up for concerts anymore. It's like, and performing was the best part about being an artist. Getting on that stage and rocking crowds was like the best part of it for me. Yeah, that was the best part
for you. Yeah.
Going in the studio and making it was like I'm making this song so that I could then perform it for someone.
Wow, I'm the opposite. That's crazy. No,
I don't.
Wow, I'm the complete opposite. Wow,
I could really care less about giving an album.
Man, wow.
But it was it just wasn't.
I hate the performance part of it.
Oh, I love.
Believe it or not, like I'm like, why can't I just make this music like and be like the Phantom, like hiding,
come on, bro.
I
would do like even with 180, we would do like our performances were like theatrical. I remember when we were the first ones locally to do a video intro. Like at the Palladium, we brought the screen down.
Oh, that's super dope. Ahead of your time, brother.
B-Dot edited a video at South High with all of us in it, showing our names and the intro and the background music.
That's dope.
Like we used to go out of our way to perform.
And that chapter just closed up for you, man.
I kind of got bored. So to fast forward to, my dad passed away, and then I think I want to blame probably Spider-Man, the first one, when it came out. 2000.
It did something to you.
Yeah, all of a sudden I just started. Actually, not even that. I'll go back further. Before my dad passed, I would say like 99 when I went away to college and I needed to work, and I had 2 jobs. I had one job at a hip hop clothing store in Boston, but when I would come home on the weekends, I was working at the Movie Gallery, which was a video store on Park Ave in Worcester, and. I was like,
video store,
bro. Listen, if I could get paid to live,
I mean, he's wearing a Blockbuster. Do you remember
that?
I'm sweatshirt.
So when I was working there, though, like I could watch any movie I wanted for free.
For the young kids out there, it's a red box that you can walk into.
Yep, it's a giant red box.
It's a giant red box. Go ahead.
I could watch any movie I wanted for free. I could take home stacks of movies, and no one would even care. So I would literally just. I was
be kind.
Up.
Rewind.
I was binging everything. I was binging everything, and that was when I first watched the Star Wars trilogy.
Yeah.
Because I knew that the Phantom Menace was coming out, the episode 1.
Okay.
So I was like, I gotta brush up. I can't go to the movies and not know. So I took them all home, watched them all in one night, bring them back.
Oh wow!
Watched that. And then I found my favorite director. I fell in love with Kevin Smith.
Oh shoot!
Because my manager was like, "You don't know about Jay and Silent Bob?" And I was like, "No." And he was like.
Let me put you on.
He went and got all the Kevin Smith movies. Like, this is your homework.
Wow.
I watched Clerks, watched them all. I was like, wow. I was like, I like this guy. But I liked him not because he was the greatest director in the world, but he was like me. He was a movie lover who chased his dream, made a movie, and then got a career out of it.
Yeah.
Clerks is literally like you and I got together and was like let's
boys
just go,
getting together,
let's
man.
just go make our movie.
Yep.
And he got recognized for it. He made it look obtainable.
Yeah.
And that's something that just stuck in my head. Like, I could make a movie if I wanted to. I like to tell stories. I like to write. I was always a creative writer when I was a kid. Like, in school, like, I attached to that because it was just, he just felt like I could be him.
Yeah.
So, following a trail of movies and things like that, and then Spider-Man comes out, and then I'm remembering, my dad, me and him, we used to always spend time watching TV together. After a while, music game changed. It just kind of faded. It wasn't important to me.
Yeah.
It wasn't as fun. It wasn't, so then...
Nothing was pulling you to... Nothing was inspiring you to go back.
Yeah,
really
it was like there's something that is like when you learn something and you feel like you're good at it.
Yeah.
It's just like, I can go back to that anytime I feel like it. It's just like riding a bike. You don't ever really lose it. You know what I mean? And then I just... I wanted to talk about movies. I had friends we would go back and forth and talk about it all the time, and I was like, it'd be kind of cool if we had like a thing where we could do this all the time for people and online and things like that. And came up with the name Critix and designed a couple of logos, brought it to a couple of my friends that are still with me today that do this, and they picked the logo out of the different colors.
And now, at this time, are you doing Comic-Con or
no? This is the very beginning. This is when it was just an idea. And created the we've created an Instagram was the first thing that we created before we even had a Facebook. And we were just posting posters and talking about movies. It wasn't even nothing important, but people would respond. They would see the show that we're talking about and they would comment and follow. And you saw a common interest out there that people wanted to do movies and talk about movies and things like that. And
you started tapping into that niche.
Just doing it. And then I brought it to these guys. I was like, yo, you guys want to do this for real? And they were like, yeah, let's try it. So then we did the Facebook, and we purposely focused on outside of where we live.
Yeah.
Because I don't know anybody out here that really cares. All my followers are still like rap, heavy, hip hop. Like they're into finding the audience is what we did. Mm-hmm. So we would go to like, Blockbuster pages or like movie studio pages and go in and just follow their followers.
Ah, okay.
And then they would see the interest and then just
follow back. Okay.
So, that's like a cool little tip for anybody that's trying to build your
let me do that.
page.
Yeah, here we go. Hold up.
If you're trying to
there we go. Drop some gems right
yeah,
there.
if you're trying to build a following, if you
build with their fans.
Yeah, if you have a certain brand of something that
That's
you're trying
super
to
dope.
push, just
I
go
like
in
that.
and find the people that are interested in what you do.
Yeah.
And then after a while,
and
you
start tapping into that.
Yeah,
niche
so
by doing
we
that.
were at like 3,000 followers at the time.
I remember when you were climbing up.
And I applied for Press for Us because I'm gonna be 1,000% honest. When I first started doing this, there were a couple of YouTube channels out there that I used to follow, and I was like, yo, how do these guys get this access?
Yeah.
Like, they're just like regular guys. They weren't like attached to EW. They weren't attached to big, they were
just independent on their own,
regular
doing
people.
it. Yeah.
Like, they were popular on the internet because people knew who they were as geeks. So I just searched the Comic-Con website and went through their menus, and I found Press, and I was like, oh, I can apply. And literally, I only did this because I wanted to be on the other side of the wall.
Right.
I didn't care about
anything else.
Yeah, I just wanted to be able to be on the other side of the wall. I didn't know what that entailed. I didn't know what that access meant, what I would get, and it was for Rhode Island Comic-Con. First year, we got denied. We only had 3,000 followers. Nobody knew it. We didn't even have a format.
Right.
We just had a logo, a couple of images on our page. I would be the first to say we didn't really look legit.
Right,
we
right.
Just posting things. Yeah.
Finding your way. You guys just trial and error.
Yeah, so we just waited a while and kept out doing what we were doing. We were getting more structure. We were reviewing things for real.
Yep.
With the X's.
You start learning, right?
Yeah.
Now you're learning the next step. Hold up. Let's backtrack. Let's take this step. Okay, let's do this properly. Yeah. Let's try. It's the same process that we went through with the show. Yeah. It's like, okay, that doesn't work.
Should do.
You start adding this thing. You start. It's somebody said entrepreneurialism is the love of the journey. If you're a person who wants to be an entrepreneur, but you want the result more than the journey, don't even be an entrepreneur. An entrepreneur has like an obsession with the journey itself, like the process of. There's never an actual end resolution to this journey. Yeah. It's an ongoing journey of developing and progressing.
That was something that I would put in the minds of like artists that I would manage back when I was doing music, like with Jelly, and I would tell like, this is the fun part. Like, we already know what's there,
right?
But imagine if you did enough by yourself, where someone would knock on your door and be like, "Yo, I noticed what you're doing."
Right.
I would rather that than you just say, "Hey, listen, just come sign over here," because you don't even know who I am. You don't care about me. You just see. I don't know what you see. You know what I mean?
Yo, and that's another thing you got to be careful and navigate through.
Yeah.
Because then when the numbers do start coming in, or they start seeing you with certain individuals, and they're like, oh, he got the connect. That's when these dudes try to come out and try to latch on.
Yeah,
that's what they're like.
You've gotten that.
Yo, what's up, man? Yo, I heard you got the. I got the.
Funny? I mean,
I'm trying to meet that little kid from Batman, yo.
I mean, it's not as bad as you would think, but there have been some people who have fell off along the way, but.
But let some real big things start popping off, and then you see them like.
I mean, I've got people that wanted to be a part because they've seen the things that they've seen
that
some
you're
of the
already
things
doing
that
now.
They're already doing. Yeah. But to get back to
my bad.
I forgot where I was at.
Okay, you're growing with your team.
Yeah.
Yep,
so I think we were at like 6,000 followers at this point, and this is probably within a year's time. And we reapplied again. And we got in our first con, which was Rhode Island Con. Shout out to Rhode Island Con for giving us our first press,
Super fire.
Our press opportunity.
That was actually my first Comic-Con I've ever been to.
Yeah, so when the first year we got denied, I went as a customer.
So you still went? Yeah. Here's another gem.
Yeah, because I wanted to know what the experience
was anyway.
like. You know what I mean?
Super dope.
I was like, if we're gonna be here as press one day, I gotta at least know what I'm navigating through. Like, I want to know how wild this is gonna be.
Yeah.
And I'm not gonna lie, for it being a Rhode Island Comic-Con, it's not like the big San Diego Con. It's not like New York Comic-Con. This was wild. Like, I never thought we even had anything like this in our backyard. Like,
wow.
It was insane. Like, it'd be like 80,000 people in a weekend. Like, it was crazy. So getting that experience, dude, I waited in lines. I paid for VIP and I was still waiting in lines.
Wow.
And I'm waiting in lines. And the payoff of that first experience at the Comic-Con was the man himself was there, and I met him, and I got 3 autographs from him.
Stanley.
Yeah, so
there's only one that you can say is the man at a Comic-Con.
So that was
anybody else, I'll be like, huh?
That was exactly the payoff of that. My first and only time ever paying to go to a Comic-Con.
Wow.
That one time, and I met Stan Lee that time, and after that, it was smooth sailing, and we just been applying and growing and going.
You built your worth up. They recognized it, and eventually you got to work for Comic-Con.
Yeah.
Working for Comic-Con.
Well, that con we worked for. I don't know what happened because of COVID, so we haven't been in communication since that. But that was the Comic-Con that ended up hiring us to do all their videography, which went flawlessly, and they commended us on our job. So thank you guys for coming out and helping, because we wouldn't have been able to do half.
It was a dope experience, bro. For all of us, everybody involved. I know that everybody was thankful. So
but I don't even feel like that was like our biggest
No, but you could see it like it was for it being the first experience. Like everybody held it down.
Yeah,
everybody was doing their thing.
But that's because of the experience of being at cons,
right?
And again, with that, I was the only one with the con experience, because even when it came to traveling to San Diego, to New York, to Anaheim, I was the only one capable of doing it.
Right?
I've hit every con almost in the country.
Yeah, you've been putting in work.
And my biggest accomplishment that I'm proud of is that my very first time going to the Mecca, San Diego Comic-Con, my first time I didn't go as a customer.
Yeah.
I went as press, and that was a great accomplishment.
Hand claps for that, man.
That is fire.
I hold that one
big,
and that's the one I'm dying to go to. I haven't gone to that.
It's so hard.
I lived in San Diego, but I never actually went to one.
And I'm sure you've seen the crowds, man. They take over the whole city.
It was nuts.
It takes over the whole city.
But I want to go to one, because I'm like, because it's not just for those who don't know, because some people know about Comic-Cons, some do, but the one that he's talking about, the one in San Diego, it's not just Comic-Con. It's like comic book stuff.
Yeah.
It's video games, it's movies.
Yeah.
Like if you want to know what's really popping for like Marvel movies or Star Wars or whatever's like the biggest movie in pop culture, you will find out there.
Yeah.
And that's like, even
that's
TV
kind of like the
shows.
comic. That's kind of like that comic fan.
Yeah.
But
sometimes they let you try out games that are about to come out.
So, and here's a misconception, because people think of the name as Comic-Con. It's not just about comic books and superheroes.
Right.
Yeah.
It is about the industry of fandom.
Yeah.
And anything that has fans is presented there. It could be Nancy Drew. It could be a CW show that has nothing to do with the Flash or Arrow. It could be Fox TV show. It could be Superstore. What are other TV shows that are on right now? Like, it could be, if there's a solid fandom, the studio is smart enough to know that we're going to have 1 million people in one place at the same time. I want the whole cast to go do a panel. That's where they go to promote new seasons, new movies, new announcements.
When you go on YouTube and you see the actors are answering questions.
Yep.
That's Comic-Con.
Yeah.
No, it's like
most people don't know. They just see the actors all together in these places and these events, and they're like, "Where do you go to see this? Like, where do you see all the actors?"
They walk around in the hotel
Comic-Con.
like it's nothing.
Yeah,
like you'll see them just walking right by you like it ain't nothing.
So as press, we get the access to get private interviews with some of these celebrities, or not on the floor, not in the middle of everything. They bring us to a press area where we go in a room and have the one-on-one with them, sometimes on camera, sometimes on audio only, and the rest has been history, man. And then and now with COVID and everything, we had a crazy slate for 2020, man. We were all going together.
It was all lined up. Everything was ready to rock. And it was like one after the other, boom, boom, cancel.
And then I'm in a coma.
Yeah, and then you got and then you get hit too, bro.
You was in the zone.
Yeah, literally in the zone.
Literally.
Man. So I end up fast tracking to being under and being vividly conscious within my own brain. I told Gil, I was like, Gil, I had dreams and I remember them all. But it was literally like I went to bed and woke up.
Wow.
It didn't last long. To everyone else, my family, loved ones, everyone was, praying and hoping that I made it through. But to me, it was like I went to bed and woke up.
Wow.
But
3 days later.
No. 3.5 weeks.
Felt like 3 days, but he was out for like 3 weeks.
I lost 3 days. What I mean is I don't remember 3 days before going into the coma. I don't remember them. I have text threads. I have a little bit.
How did you eventually, like, what was the story when you came out? Like, who was somebody there?
No, because no one was allowed to visit me.
So nobody was even.
Yeah, no, I was all by myself doing the whole thing. When I woke up, but to me, like I said, it was easy on me. I tell everybody, don't worry about me, because to me, it was like I went to bed and woke up. I don't remember nothing. I didn't feel anything. I just remember my dreams, and I woke up and I'm in bed.
That's just hands in your life is in God's hands at that point.
Yeah,
there's nobody there to represent yourself. You can't answer for yourself. That's it. You are that's it.
And I think about when I think about it, sometimes I'm like, wow. I'm like why me? Like, this is wild, because a lot of times it wasn't. It was, to me, it was like it was in the hands of that doctor, because people were getting the plug pulled all month. Like, even after like 5, 6, 7 days, people were just pulling the plugs. New York, how many bodies they said?
Yeah,
they weren't waiting. They waited 3.5 weeks for me until I turned around, and it was like they told my mom at one point it didn't look like I was gonna make it through a weekend, and then I'm here. I think about that all the time. It just goes to my head like all the time. It's crazy.
That's crazy, bro.
3.5 weeks. They occupied a bed for me for 3.5 weeks.
Thank God, like nobody was like, you know what? Maybe we should pull the plug.
Yeah,
because nobody would have been able to fight
on
for
the
you.
table. Like that was
like they literally told my mother that it didn't look like I was gonna make it through a weekend.
So,
but my mom persisted. She was just like, no, we're not.
Wow,
we're not. So it's like.
So when you come out of it.
Yep.
Do you remember coming out of it?
Here and there, because a lot of it, sometimes it felt like I was still dreaming. Sometimes I felt like I was still up. I found out after the fact that half of the nurses that I remember weren't really there.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, like
you fabricated nurses.
He had to fill in the blanks.
I don't know why, but in my mind, I thought
I want to say thank you to Nurse Jenny. They're like, there's
people don't
nobody
take this
here
the
by
wrong way,
that
but
name.
I thought that all my nurses were black, and then they were like, there are no black nurses here.
Wow. So you have you fabricated in your
yeah, there was a
whatever
lot.
comforted you the most, like. All right, I got you.
I don't know, man. I don't know. I remember when I woke up,
It was all your aunts.
It was all familiar faces.
All 3 aunts.
I had to relearn to walk. Wow. I couldn't walk. I tried to get out of the bed without knowing that I couldn't walk.
Do you remember the first conversation you had with one of your loved ones? Like, do you remember that?
Talk to my mother. I remember talking to her. I just don't remember
You better
that conversation.
remember.
I don't remember the conversation, but I know I know because she called like every day, and they would like bring me the phone.
She make you remember.
So where can you start, like, how you say it, recollecting? Is that how you say it?
I remember
where you start recollecting
when she
like,
would call and they would bring me the phone, and I remember at one point I told her I was like really tired, and then she was gonna call me back, and I remember dropping the phone, and she called me back, and I wasn't able to get the phone. I remember that.
wow.
I don't remember anything past that. I just remember the most conscious moments I remember was when I got out of that bed and I tried to walk and my ass hit the floor.
Oh,
and
man.
then I hit myself.
Oh, get out of here.
Yes. I fell
that's probably
to
normal.
the floor with no strength in my legs whatsoever, and I didn't know at first. And then they had this loud alarm on. I guess I was a fall risk, but no one told me. And they yelled at me for getting out of bed. I was like, well, what was I supposed to do?
Yeah, you're thinking you're good. You're thinking everything's all right.
Yeah.
I'm getting up.
After a while, just laying in that bed was just not enough. I was like, I need to move. I need to get up. Like, I couldn't just sit there no more. But yeah, like
So where, and as you're, coming together again, what's going through your head, right? Like,
I was thinking about my dreams that I had, because they were like very, very vivid and very scary at sometimes, and just weird and just. I was just trying to understand. Like, I was just trying to get. But I will tell you this. This is the God honest truth. I tell everybody this, that I kind of miss being in that bed.
Wow.
And I'll tell you why. Because it was the one time I felt like I had no responsibility.
Yo,
Though I'm gonna be real with you.
yo, say it. Okay,
it was the one time that I felt like I had nothing to do but worry about me.
Wow.
Like I didn't have to worry about rent. I didn't have to worry about deadlines. I didn't have to worry about keeping up a website. I didn't have to worry about going to work. I had nothing to do but sit there and relax. And it was the best feeling in the world. I'm not even going to lie. Like, I miss that. I miss that a lot.
What about it other than like not worrying? What did you feel like it at some point like you felt I'm productive and then it was like countering the feeling?
Nope.
Or you were just basking in that?
Well, I mean, because normally myself, like I would have been like worried, like, oh my God, I'm missing out on things that's going on out there. But the whole world was shut down.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. Like,
so it's like it was perfect time to just.
I slept through the release of what would have been Black Widow's release. That would have drove me insane. If I woke up and the world was still going on and Marvel had released Black Widow, I would have lost my mind.
We need to stop. He's waking up.
He's the one that's
and the doctor's like, no, sir, you just woke up from a 3-week coma. Wait a minute. Are you really going to sit there and tell me I missed Black Widow?
Yo, I'm telling you right now, I would have lost
the dreams
my
that he had.
mind.
They just told you that you almost died.
The dreams that he had.
Yeah, but like, I'm going to, like, after that, I put up
Black Widow.
I put up a status on my birthday about, the feeling of that. And like, there was nothing to fear. Like, if that was going to be the end, I would have never saw it coming. And I was okay with that. Like, it was, like I said, it was the most calm I felt in a very, very long time. I don't think I've ever felt that calm.
Do you think the calm was because of no work? Or just more so just the stresses of life?
Stresses of life.
It had nothing to do with work
No.
or your passions or what you enjoy doing.
The stresses of life.
The stresses of life.
Yes.
You were relieved from those concerns and worries.
Yes.
It's crazy because I think of like work and I relate it to, obviously scriptures, and I think when God created Adam and Eve, right, he told Adam, tend to the garden. He said, tend to the garden, subdue the earth. All this is yours. This is your domain. This is your dominion. Right. And you think about that. That's work. He's tending to the garden. He's working. But before, he disobeyed God and he ate from the tree. Before he did that, it wasn't work for him. It was just your natural responsibility that you can enjoy doing.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm watering this plant. I'm putting my work in, but I'm enjoying every little moment of this kind of work, of maintaining what's mine. And then once he disobeyed, that corruption entered. Now we know it as sin, disobedience to God. And now by the sweat of your brow you work. It all falls back. Like if you follow the biblical story, it all falls back to that moment that is directly related to that. By the sweat of your brow, you're going to tend to your garden. Thorns are grown. Now you got to work through the thorns and all the you got to pull the weeds and you got to now wrestle with creation because of corruption. And for a brief moment, you had a pause of all that demand and you got to rest. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Like you got to enjoy some rest. Like, for me, it's like the longing of what things are supposed to be. This is how it's supposed to be. Yeah. But we drifted from that. We stray from the simplicity of what God actually intended it to be. Simply enjoy this. And don't stand against me. Don't turn from me. Enjoy this. And then here we are, we turn from it and we make it something else. And, it's not the purity of the passion that you're producing these things. It's the chase of the dollar and the fame and the thing. And now you're rising up against each other and you're secretly trying to befriend each other because this dude has a little connection that I need over here to connect the dot over there. Yeah. And everybody has their own little plans mapped out with who's connected to who. And if we go over here and if we do this, and now everything is motivated by agenda, corruption.
Yeah.
You know?
That's why that movie, Soul, is
Oh,
crazy. Because that's exactly how it all tied together.
I related.
His whole life was like taking things and applying it to somehow achieve what he was trying to achieve, and then finally gets it, and he's just like, I thought I'd be like,
he thought that the purpose was
to get that.
To
simply get that.
Yeah.
And
he
it
put
was
his whole
not
life.
the purpose.
Yeah.
When he looked at that little, what was that little seed that fell down? Remember the thing that, he looked at that thing, and that's when that came in. Mm-hmm. It's like, I understand it.
Because he remembered her memory of how she felt
in that moment.
Such a simple thing of a leaf falling.
Just living.
Then he started. It was just. That's why it was beautiful, because even though it was like a cartoon, it really made you, even as an adult, you'll step back and be like, yo, you have so much value around you. And somehow we kind of overlook it. We neglect it. We undervalue it. Yeah. And we're like, we want this.
We think
shiny thing.
We make it something else.
And it's like, yo, you realize how much value? And that's why he realized, just from a leaf,
he's like, I'm just living.
Like, life is actually the worth living, not pursuit, not trying to win this and win that.
Dope,
and
man.
he's like, yo, just living your life to the fullest and enjoying every minute of it, perfecting the loves that you have. Like, that's where it's all about.
Facts.
And he realized it. He realized it, kind of late.
I haven't heard not one thing.
I guess it was never too late to.
I personally haven't heard anything. What do you think of Soul? You saw Soul?
I love Soul. Perfect.
How many times have you seen it?
I saw it once.
Once?
Yeah.
Okay.
And I grasped it immediately.
Yeah, you knew.
Yeah,
you knew what it was.
I related to it a lot. Like it.
Yeah. Hit right.
Even as like being a creative, even as like what I went through, like
maturing through it.
Yeah, just related, and like I said, it's changed me. Like I haven't been the same since coming out of that.
I think it was the best movie that could have possibly come out in the time and climate we live in right now.
Yeah.
Because you have no choice right now but to be at home and look at your stank self.
Yeah.
So you're going to have to figure it out. Is this really the life you want to go?
Yeah.
Is this really the life you want to live? Mm-hmm. Or do you want to look at yourself and see what you can really get out of life? You know, do you want to just settle and just keep on this monotonous life, or do you want to make choices and seek after the things that you should be seeking after that matter?
Yeah, I think
what
it's
does it truly matter to you right now? You know, is it just getting that paycheck?
I think it's like like almost like this drawing to actually like longing for the face-to-face interaction because of the separation and the isolation that the pandemic causes. So you have a lot of people now that are like disconnected and disassociated from each other. And all you have now is social media, which already was a problem even before this went down. So now everything went back to, the platforms that we're familiar with to maintaining these relationships. And you got people that disconnected from social media prior to this, and now even more so feel even more disconnected because of the isolation.
Yeah. Yep. Oh, yeah.
Because now you're disconnected from the toxic environment. Because as soon as you go on a news feed, like I know all of us can get that one scroll and you're like, I'm out. You're just like, I'm out. I can't even go through it. Lately. But then you're like, well, how do I connect outside of this? And then it really brings in, like, you start, for me, like I've been disconnected and now I'm getting text messages. Now from people that are normally following my social media, like, hold up, he's not engaging as much. And now kind of like forces this, let me hit him up. And then now you get a phone call, you're like, oh shoot, like, and then I'm reminded, I'm like, who am I thinking I'm so prideful? Like I disconnected from social media. Now no one will know, like what? I'm so prideful. Like everyone's checking for my posts.
I mean, that same thing happened with me. Like we kept it close to the chest. Like none of my family, we didn't tell anyone. No one really knew what was going on. And like, I didn't think that anyone would even notice I wasn't around. Wow. And people were hitting me up like,
yo, Klep, where you at?
You haven't posted anything? I'm like, you know when I post? Like,
yeah, those are the people that are watching and
like,
engaging with your stuff.
I didn't even think anyone would even notice. Like, I didn't feel like it was that long.
Did it make you rethink that too?
Yeah, it made me rethink a lot of things. Like, I didn't realize, like, because I didn't tell anyone not to say anything, but you know, my brother, he made like one post about it, and then all of a sudden it was like
boom,
wildfire.
Yeah,
and it still didn't reach everyone because he and I don't have the same circle, but still, because like you didn't know, like
no,
I'm surprised Dan didn't tell you.
I found out at some point through Paul, but at that point you were already.
Oh, okay.
You're already good.
Yeah, Dan knew. He reached out.
He kept it like personal
quiet,
to it.
Quiet.
You know?
But yeah, no, it was very.
It shows
exciting.
a lot. I mean, I'm not mad at that. I didn't know because that's
dude, by the time I found out, you were chilling. You were like, yeah, what's up? Like,
it shows, you know,
what
a value.
You went through this whole life changing thing. I had no clue
because there was people that I know well that didn't say anything.
Yeah, I was.
So that's
shocked.
like, damn, that's dope.
Yeah.
Like they have highly respect because you know how some people could be.
Yeah,
like, yo, did you hear?
Yeah, everybody want to know. Everyone want to be the first to talk about it.
Clap it straight up in the coma, son.
Yeah.
Like,
No, but it was good to see the love.
Nothing.
It was good to see the love, and I lost myself for a little bit. The motivation thing did come in, but like after the fact.
Yeah. But you still have a taste of that. Like what that was like in that moment.
What do you mean?
Like just resting in that moment.
Yeah, no, that was the best part. Like the rest, like not having to worry about anything. Like even my landlord would have hit me up. I probably would have been like, "Yeah, who are you? Bye." Like, I didn't care, bro. I didn't care. Like everything was carefree. I felt so relieved and just relaxed and just happy to just be there. And like I said, I didn't fear dying. I didn't fear anything at all.
Yeah.
Nothing.
Well, you know what, brother? Praise God that you here with us right now at this moment, and you're able to share your experience with the audience now, man. And I'm gonna keep you lifted, man. Like I'm gonna keep you definitely. It's good to ponder these things, you know, because this country tends to give you a sense of untouchable, like almost like you're immortal. Like, and I feel like not that I'm glad. Like I'm not gonna say I'm gonna celebrate the pandemic, but it's sobering is the word.
Oh yeah,
it's not about celebratory or like that kind of attitude, or it's just it's sobering. It's a good reminder
for me.
Facts.
A year of growth. Even have to teach yourself to adjust to the things that I love. Like everything, I felt like everything was handed. Like with the Comic-Cons,
right?
It was just so easy. I apply, get in, I get my content, come home. Now I gotta work for my content.
Wow.
Now I gotta figure out how to adjust to live streaming and camera setups at home, and you know, it just kind of
everybody gotta adjust,
just a twist. On, you know, and that's the part I enjoy, the growing, and because I would have never taken the time to do it.
Right. So this is kind of like put you in that position where it's forcing you to be like, yo, I gotta. Yeah. Hey, you want to stay afloat, man? We got to figure this out,
and that's why Klep CX was born.
Yeah, fire.
Segue.
Dope. That's what's up.
I feel like to sum up 2020 is like that 2020 vision. It's like, look, you stepped in crap. What are you gonna do about it? That's basically 2020 wrapped up.
Yeah.
You stepped in poop. What are you gonna do now?
Now figure it out. Yeah,
figure it out. Are you gonna rub it in grass?
Shoot, it's gonna be still a process of figuring out because now pretty soon I'm gonna be mandated to take this vaccination. And
ooh, that's gonna be a whole nother episode.
There's different people that feel differently about it. Like depending
You're mandated,
on, huh? Oh yeah, like they.
Well, he works in the medical field as IT. So we talked about. I'm like, man, if this becomes mandated.
It's already like in the talks.
Probably gonna be the first.
I already met people that are already getting it, so it's like
I saw some people getting it. So
I'm in line to get it. So I guess I'll be the guinea pig and let y'all know how. Let y'all know what happens
when the side of his face is like that.
Like lopsided.
Like I'm gonna pretend like I don't see it. I'm like, so how was that?
So we're gonna
how's that vaccine?
We're gonna jump into a quick featured music. This is a music video, Eshon Burgundy, The Just. Here we go, and then we'll come back with some more. You know, good topic, whatever. I'm dropping the ball. Good topic, what do I do here?
Play the video.
How do I treat? All right, just go. All right, here's Eshon Burgundy. The Just. I started like relying on the radio voice. I was like, you know, we're gonna.
You try to make it R&B until you got to whatever.
Get it some. All right, Eshon Burgundy, The Just.
Yeah, learning not to choose feelings over conviction. Elohim is sovereign over this system. The reason God came in between men while they were fishing. Could have been he wanted them to remain in that position. The hypostatic union remains a contradiction. In the mind of the Pharisee, that's heresy. Wisdom and repentance combined, that's like therapy. Living water, rinsing my mind of all this kerosene. Ammo for ecclesia, I load it carefully. Every word breathed by the living God is air to me. Was broken, everything he's ever spoken is repairing me. Fearing him gave me the courage to become who I was scared to be. Soaking in scripture got me dripping all this charity. There was never 4 footprints, he always carried me. Handicapped, strapped with a small sword in the fanny pack. Fit is black and red concords and an army jack. Kamikaze verbs, sending words with a bomb attached. Pages of prophecy, each copy like the almanac. The Most High's mercy unrobbed me from my poverty. Upon his blessing, I take possession like apostrophes. Tries word from different angles like isosceles. Mental pictures of scriptures has medicinal properties. Promise at the promise, all he is honest. Designer of the finest knowledge, he gon' keep us conscious. And if we fail to act, the spirit is quick to remind us. I've been in the presence of the Father, I felt the nirvana. No Buddhist, Yahuwah, Yahshua, Ruach. Praying daily, reading the laws of the Torah. Covered in the blood of the Savior. Living like I does know the Maker. Old Testament, New Testament, no perfection. He tests men, we testify of his intelligence, the God of heaven. I ain't looking for no breaks. I'ma just do what it takes. We gon' keep loving our neighbors. Just we living by faith. I ain't looking for no breaks. I'ma just do what it takes. We gon' keep loving our neighbors. Just we living by faith.
Like a kitchen, but I could get you.
We back in. we're talking about
we talking business.
We're talking
business. Got a snippet of sneak peek behind the scenes.
That was Eshon, Burgundy, the Just. We'll continue that.
We'll figure it out.
We gotta talk about that.
Plot and take over the world.
So now you have the podcast.
Yes, Klep CXFM.
Now, is this separate from the Critix that you're doing, or what's the concept?
It's separate but connected. So whenever you see me do my open, I'm going to say this, welcome to Klep CXFM, brought to you by wearecritics.com. So basically, it's of course, it's a part because it's me. I'm Critix. Wherever I go, you're going to see Critix. There's a little X pin. You're going to see that no matter where I go. Mm-hmm. So that's just me, being smart about my business.
Is now officially my go-to for trailers.
Okay.
Yeah, facts. Me and wife would be hitting that up too. A few times.
Appreciate that. Yeah, we try to keep up with what's going on and what's going out there. But like I said, a lot of the stuff that's coming out is just redundant, same old news, and that was another reason why I wanted to branch off, because I feel like Critix is its own thing. It's its one thing, and I wanted to stretch my legs a little bit and have a little fun and just be goofy and geeky and introduce myself to my crowd of people. It's been quite an experience.
So, do you find and in that experience right now, because you're just doing this now?
Just new. Started September.
Do you find any conflicts with it, like so far, or can you foresee any conflicts with it?
As far as conflicts with critics?
Because I have this thing called Death to Life Productions.
I know that.
Yeah, the multimedia idea that I have, it's just in the tuck right now, but it houses me and Gil and everything that we're doing together collectively. Mm-hmm. But there's been times where I didn't want to wear like multiple, because you're wearing multiple hats, dude. Technically you're the CEO, you're the financial advisor, you're the lawyer at times.
I didn't even get into the podcast that I produce for other people who are not affiliated with me.
Oh, and you're producing other podcasts. Now, normally the podcaster has already started with his podcast and then he produces. So like you're already like ahead of the curve and already like producing other podcasts on top of that.
It's what I want to do. It's a passion and it keeps me going. Like having multiple gigs at the same time is what keeps me feeling alive.
Okay.
Like I get bored.
Do you confuse the motives of all of them ever, or they all collectively work together?
Well, they're not affiliated. The ones that I do outside of Critix and Klep CX is, they're just clients, people that I've met along the way through Kristen, or just, people who I believe in what they do and I want to help them out. And I just help them put together their thing as best possible.
Yeah.
I couldn't even call them podcasts because they're little like web series, like literally like legit TV shows.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
So, but yeah, that kind of thing is. And I also did one for Maverick from Jammin'. We did a podcast thing. We're going to be continuing that soon, I guess. But I don't, it's on hold right now. But we did like 8 episodes. You know what I mean?
Already, yeah.
But that kind of thing just keeps me going. Like, and it also helps me learn about better things that I want to do with my own thing. So it's just keeps
So
me
do you
going.
find yourself like in a learning process right now? Is that where you're at?
Yeah.
And you're okay with the learning process?
I'm okay with it.
Like, are you planning like your 5-year plan? In 5 years, I'm going to get this. In 10 years, I'm going to get this.
So one, it's helped me gain my equipment because, I'm not paying for all this by myself. So it's helped that. It's helped me learn to do things on my own that I wouldn't have been able to teach myself unless I was doing it for someone else. It's sharpening my editing skills. It's sharpening my, my videography skills.
So you're getting something out of it every step of the way.
Totally, yeah.
Super dope,
you know what I mean? And I think I just want to be good at everything that I can be good at, so that when it's time to, I don't know. I don't know how to explain it. Like, I just want to know how to do everything. I don't want to rely on anybody else to tell me how to do something. It's like I have experience.
That's basically Marrio.
I know how to do it. You know what I mean? Like, that's just, I don't know. It's just how I've always been. Even with, I learned what I could learn from Dan, and I apply that. Like, all of this is because of him and
Facts.
Kristen.
Yeah, shout out.
Let's blame
shout out
Dan
to them.
Rosario and Kristen
Dan
Lucas
and Kristen, thank you so much for the inspiration. It's true. Like they had a birth of a bunch of children that just like went off and like just went crazy.
My first thing with him was Affected.
Podcast and film.
Affected was like the very first thing I ever
It's so
did.
true, man. That's profound.
Dan was my first Kevin Smith.
That's profound.
Yeah, Dan was my first Kevin Smith.
That's real talk.
He made it look obtainable.
Right.
And he was
only an arm's length away.
And he wasn't afraid. And a lot of people don't like to share. A lot of people don't like to teach or coach. And he
was always available.
Yeah.
Always accessible.
And he might not have sat us down in a classroom and taught us how to do it, but it was enough.
He put us to work.
Yeah.
He put us to work.
Even when I was the star and I'm watching him film me, I'm learning from him because he does things in such a professional, structured way.
Yep.
That you're like, okay.
He's the real deal.
Yeah, I will never forget that when we did the
effect.
Not the effect. The Catch Me If You Can.
Catch Me If You Can.
That was like unlike anything.
That was the Spiritually Dead for me. That was like
I can
my
imagine.
experience.
Just watching the finished product, I can imagine. Imagine what that was like. That process. Crazy. How long did it take to shoot both of those?
Oh my good. Well, the first one it took us months, right? Like 3-4 months almost.
Of filming?
Yeah, like because we were going through hoops and hurdles with the building. Yeah. My uncle's like.
I think Catch Me If You Can took me a week.
No, dude. Like ours was delayed.
It was days?
Actual filming was actual like.
But it had to be like stretched.
It was
out.
like 3-4 days.
Yeah.
But we were going through like the buildings. The pipes went in the building, and now we had to wait, and we had to delay everything, and then the generators went, and then we had no power, and then snow like blizzards, and I was like, this is work. This ain't no walk in the park. This ain't no cakewalk.
So let me ask you this, because I know you and I, we come from that era where we do the music videos, but our music videos are pretty much stories. They're movies.
Yeah.
Have you ever wanted to like sit down and actually write something?
Oh, dude, I already wrote like
2 of them.
Oh, like scripts. I was already in the process of writing this whole script for Spiritually Dead.
Okay.
And like I was gonna send it to Dan and everything, but I think since the pandemic and everything that happened, I slowed down a lot of these endeavors.
Yeah.
Because it was just too much go getter, and I kind of like lost sight.
The other film too that you did.
A few of them. The Chief is one of them with Manny. Like that's a dope. That's a dope
Chief.
concept.
Also, those 3 then.
Yeah. Like, but since then, it's like the little ones are getting older. And priorities change. You know what I mean? Yeah. And you start to say, all right, what can I take off my plate? Like as you get older, you're like, what can I?
I'm still trying to add things.
Maybe for some people, like they never come to that point. They need to have that. That's a personality. For me, I think I was forced And I was stubborn enough to say, I'm gonna do it, even though I didn't want to do it. I'm like, I'm gonna do it because that's what I'm forced to do. You know, that you can't just be an artist rapping dope anymore because you got people like Tekashi 6ix9ine that are clout chasers and they're making it pop. And they're like, how do I compete with this dude all tatted up and he's a rat and he's popping? Like, what am I supposed to do? I gotta tap myself up, rat somebody out. I gotta go try to start fights with everybody. Like,
but Klep, you don't have children, right?
I do have a son. He's old.
Oh, you do have a son. Oh, okay. Well, this dude got 3.
Yo, so anyway,
mine's grown. He's a grown man.
You know what it is? Is that it's good. It's good to take on what you can take on to stretch yourself and challenge yourself and to wear different hats to understand like how the ship stays afloat. Yeah. But it's also good to recognize where your strengths and weaknesses really are, so you can prioritize everything toward the things that you do that actually serve the people. Because at the end of the day, it's serving. Like, you're not doing this for self. Like, imagine you could just go to the Comic-Con and just create videos for your own interviews for your own self. You're not publishing this for you to go home and watch your videos by yourself.
Not at all.
You're doing this to broadcast to a niche that is accepting the services that you're providing. Not all of them. You're gonna have the ones that are gonna try to do whatever they can to try to tear your stuff down.
Man, they're out there, man.
Yeah,
the internet is brutal.
Yo, it really is. It's always somebody that has something to say, man. Yeah. And you already shared that experience as well. You're already going through that as well.
Yeah, man. It's crazy.
Wait till you get to the memes.
Dude,
wait till they start memeing
I'm
you.
afraid to get to like 1,000 subscribers.
Oh, wow.
My station's very new. Started in September, and I'm already at like close to 300 subscribers. I feel like that was a milestone.
Dope. Yeah, it is a milestone.
That is a milestone.
For that.
That's not
dope.
easy.
And like, the more love you get, there's always like 6 or 7 people that are just
throwing stones
wild out there.
Yeah.
So just imagine if you have 1,000 and then you get to like 5,000. It's like it's just gonna triple. It's just like,
yeah,
it's crazy. But I'm here for it, man. My channel is not about what I think. It's about what the people think. Like I don't.
And you're gonna have those. You gotta expect.
Yeah.
I mean, we hear from the top, like you hear like Joe Rogan, all the top people. Like that's what they do. Everybody's gonna have an opinion. Everyone's gonna cast stones. Just as long as you're not getting affected by it and you're taking, because some negative can be, it could be how you call it, constructive criticism.
Yeah.
And so some negative can be like, you got to find that within the criticism. Is there something I can change? Is there something I can get better at? Otherwise, you're not going to progress and find those,
Facts.
you're not going to get better. But at the same time, you have to remember that someone's always going to have an opinion. Someone's always going to be jealous. Yep. Somebody's always going to covet.
Someone's going to always be a critic.
Somebody's always going to be a critic.
Always going to be a
Yo, we're actually up on our time right now. Brother, man, why don't you let the people know like where they can find your stuff and possibly, give them an update on what you're working toward and where they can find that information as well. When's your next album?
In my next life. When I got a time
his
to
next coma.
reboot and restart all over. Yeah, you guys, man, it's been fun being here, man. I love coming through. For everybody out there, if you're a movie lover, you love television, trailers, podcasts, anything that's about fandom, geekdom, check out wearecritics.com, or you can check out my new YouTube channel, KlepCX FM. I am KlepCX on every platform, Twitter, Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, anywhere that there's social media, look for KlepCX. I'm there, and it's me. There's no other KlepCX. So.
Well, brother, it's an honor, bro. You already know what's good, man. You're welcome anytime. Real talk. We got unfinished business, and hopefully coming into a new year, the Lord will bless us with, the free reigns of 2021. So we'll keep that lifted.
You might even see a film with...
Y'all going to be on speed dial when I get the show popping. I got a live show coming. You guys better watch out.
Dope.
Oh, man, that's no question.
You're coming down.
That's what's up. All right, brother. Till next time, we're going to jump into our next feature track, and then we're out of here. This is Angels featuring Zay Hill and Miles Minnick. Till next week, grace and peace. We love y'all.
Peace.
You don't know what I know. I got hope for the Lord. I got family and friends. faces, but you still insistent coming from my throat. I got these angels on my side. Yeah, know they about to slide. Yeah, got the blood on 99 and my head will drop behind. Got these angels on my side. Yeah. Look how I'm covered in ice. All of it came with a price. Yeah, you can call me your dog, but you didn't want me to bite. This is a spiritual war, so I use the spirit to fight. These demons, they come in the night to ride. Now I gotta hit it with the verses. But I feel like Sasuke with the curses. But I feel like Hillsong with the worship. But I feel like Mike Tower with the sermons. Look at me setting the stage, open the curtains, I'm so amazed. I am determined, look at my sins and all of them burning, and that's for certain. I got these angels on my side. Yeah, know they about to slide. Yeah, got the blood on 99 and my head will drop behind. Got the angels on my side.
I got the angels on me. All of my brothers with me. People really want me down, but I keep myself for the king. Yeah, I just trying to get my crown. Trying to hear well done. Trying to chill with the sun. Yeah, trying to chill with the sun. With the angels on my side, I'm on fire, sad rat. Me, Shaq up in the go, I'm finna blow. Disappoint the devil 10 times in a row. God on my side, God is my dad. I'm finna ride, I'm finna spaz. God come through every time I ask. Game time's up, I'm rolling past. I was turned out, didn't see past the day. Looking for the old me, he passed away. Cause the devil out while he acts to say, got angels on my side.
I got the angels on my side. Yeah, know they about to slide. Yeah, got the blood on 99. Behind, got the angels on my side.
If you're listening on the podcast, be sure to check out my Facebook music page, Marrio Esco 1. Again, 2 R's in my name, the number 1 at the end, Marrio Esco 1. Be sure to like and follow that page because I like to give updates on who I'll be interviewing and leave a description on what we'll be talking about. And I also like the real-time one-on-one back and forth interaction. If you don't have the time to join us on Facebook Live, be sure to check out my podcast. It's called Marrio Esco Live, 2 R's in my name. Again, you'll see the white silhouette of myself with the cross underneath. Be sure to subscribe to that and follow the link as well to whatever podcast you're using or however you're receiving the podcast, and leave us a review. We love to hear feedback. You can also hit me up at music@marioesco.com and just hit me up with some feedback and ways that we can improve the show or the things that you like and enjoy. Any type of feedback will be highly appreciated. Grace and peace.